Good day, everyone. How are you? And welcome to Power Hour Coaching with me, Bernadette Boas. And I am the CEO and principal coach and consultant with Ball of Fire Coaching. You can learn more about me and the business at balloffirecoaching.com. But what this is all about is, and we are streaming across Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. This is an opportunity for you to get whatever coaching you might need in regards to your business, work, or life. And so you have opportunities all across those platforms to post comments with whatever question or challenge you might be dealing with, as well as you can post a comment, give StreamYard, which is where I'm streaming, permission for me to see your name and your profile picture, but leave a comment. And if you want to come online and actually join me right now over the next 45 minutes to an hour, then feel free to say that you want to join and I'll send you a link and we'll get you on so I can provide you firsthand coaching for whatever challenge or issue or opportunity or question you might have. All right. Coaching is a very powerful opportunity for you to really get the support, the mentoring, and the guidance that you need. So it's one other reason why we do this here is to give others an opportunity who have always questioned what coaching is all about. And yet at the same time to just ensure that you're getting the help and the support that you need and deserve. All right. So we have a series, we have 3 questions today. But yet at the same time, if you were to post, if I see your comments and I'm going to look across the streams as we go, I will also insert those into the conversation as well. All right. So some of the questions that people have reached out to me for coaching on, and I do respond immediately when I see your comment or your email, because a lot of it comes through LinkedIn direct messaging. But I'll respond to you directly. At the same time, I will bring it here to help you even more so and help more people with the same question they might have or are dealing with. And we also have a similar type of format on Shedding the Bitch Radio and TV, which is every Tuesday at noon Eastern time. But the first Tuesday of every month, we also have a similar Ask Me Anything format. So you have tons of opportunity to get the help that you need. That isn't as much coaching as it is me addressing your questions. Here, I would love to actually provide you coaching live and or following the show. And so I will try to incorporate the coaching that I provided these individuals as we go through our discussion. Okay. So the questions that we're going to be talking about today is how to deal with a difficult, harsh boss as I can't do anything right. And that's from BM. She didn't want me to share her full name. And then I have a question from Tamara. I'm no longer excited about my business, even my clients. Is it a funk or is there more to it? We'll talk about that. And then another one is my yearly review was excellent, but my raise doesn't reflect it. What can I do about it? That came in from Valerie. And then I just recently got one as I was actually getting ready for this session. What is the Biz Snap show all about? So I have another show, Biz Snap Show, and I will share with you and answer that question. That's more of a question versus coaching. But at the same time, I don't turn anybody away. All right. So we'll dive into these. And like I said, I'll express also, and I'm looking across the platforms just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And I will express kind of the coaching that I provided. Because it's one thing to answer someone's question, but coaching is all about asking you questions about the situation that you bring to a coach. And so you can answer your own question and come up with your own solution. And so at the same time, if BM or Valerie or Tamara wanted to join live so I can actually coach them while we were also kind of broadcasting to you, that would be fantastic. And that's kind of where we're going with this whole power hour. So it's a great opportunity for you. All right, so let's dive in. How to deal with a difficult, harsh boss as I can't do anything about it. Or I'm sorry, as I can't do anything right, from BM. Now, this is dear to my heart, which is what I told her, because I certainly have a background of being a very difficult, challenging, abrupt, abrasive, harsh, you name it type of boss. And I just wish I knew then what I know now and what I've known over the last 12 years as far as the impact that has on employees, on peers, on bosses. So much so that for me, it landed up a pink slip walking out the door. So that's what we're going to prevent. And that's what we're going to ensure, that even if you are dealing with a difficult individual at home or in the workplace, that you find mechanisms and strategies for dealing with them, because they can be dealt with. All right. And you have complete control as far as how you do handle it. Because keep in mind, you might be sitting there saying, oh my gosh, I can't, stand up to my boss, or, I can't control or change my boss and the way that he or she may behave. And that is very true. And that's the first kind of tip that I would make sure in first coaching that I did provide BM in regards to this, because you're not going to change them in any way, shape, or form. So you need to kind of first get that out of your head. And so the first question that I would ask someone is, what changes do you feel you need to make in your own interactions and relationships with this individual in order for it to be more effective? And so that would be the first question that I would throw out in a coaching session with someone, is first consider, what is it that you could be doing differently? A couple of ideas and a couple suggestions, and my tips that I would have would be, first, really sit back and try to understand their style. Now, I've been doing a lot of work over the last month and a half in regards to DISC assessments. If you're not familiar with it, it is a leadership behavioral assessment that an individual or multiple individuals, especially on a team, can take to really understand one's behaviors, motivations, drivers, understand their communication style, how they like to be managed, what their ideal environment is, so forth and so on. It's good for an individual like BM. It's good for them to understand themselves, but it's also really good to understand someone else. Now, if you don't have that opportunity to, do one of those assessments for yourself, or not for your boss, but with your boss as a team, then just try to do some research in regards to understanding other people's styles. In this case, this person is a very domineering type of individual, because she used the word harsh, let alone difficult. Anybody could be difficult. Somebody that's harsh is typically in that very dominating D type of style. And so if you were, in this case, BM, can really sit back and really understand their style. How do they communicate? Which is probably easy to answer. How do they like to be not only managed to, meaning if they're your boss, this is how they manage and they want you to respond in a certain way. Really think about that. How do they want you to respond? Now, it doesn't mean you placate or you give in, or you are subservient or submissive to them, but more so if you can understand how they actually interact and communicate and lead and manage other people, it will give you a good idea as far as what can you control and what changes can you make in how you approach them, especially from a communications perspective. So some styles, they're very, they're also very gregarious. They're very much into the creative storytelling type of mode or type of style. And therefore, they don't mind if you tend to elaborate, pontificate, draw things out, really get into a lot of detail. Whereas there's other styles that it's like bullets, just give me bullets. And one of the first things, even for me, is I'm one of those, I like bullets. I like, something short and sweet. I do like it to be personal as much as business, but short and sweet. And therefore, understanding that will help you communicate with this individual even that much better. Because say, for instance, BM, who actually both of them have similar domineering styles. And therefore, that also could be causing a clash. But what I mean by that is both of them are very short and sweet, to the point, fact-based, metric-based, and that you would think would complement each other. At the same time, depending upon how it's approached, it could actually be, be very kind of abrasive. It could be taken very defensively. So if she is going in, and yes, she's keeping it short and sweet with all the facts, but at the same time, it's more, kind of making statements and telling versus engaging, allowing that other D personality to actually be the driver, be the leader, be the delegator, be even, somewhat of I don't want to use the word, I'll come up with a different word than what I was going to use. But if they want to be the decision maker, because they're your boss in this case, then you want to present it in such a way that you're communicating all the information you want to communicate in such a way that he or she wants it communicated, but then you're asking also a lot of questions. So first off, understand that you're not going to change anybody else but yourself. So what changes can you be making? Work to understand their style and how they want to be communicated to, how they want to lead you, also, then start really considering how are you communicating and positioning your interactions with that person. Is it you're going in and you're asking questions while presenting the information so then they can contribute and collaborate and engage and even lead or make the decisions that are necessary? Or are you going in as if you have all the answers, as if you are just telling them something and you're not looking for guidance or looking for approval or looking for their advice or their thought leadership? Because those two approaches can be received very differently from different types of styles. Okay. So in the regards to like a harsh, difficult, domineering type of boss, you definitely want to walk in. You definitely want to provide, the information as succinctly as can be. But if you can understand their communication style, you also might present it in such a way that it's positioned for them to then provide their thoughts, their feedback, their advice, their guidance, their leadership. And that will allow them to feel as if they are in the driver's seat, even when and if you actually are. You have all the answers, you know what decisions you want made, and yet at the same time, you have to figure out a way to get them on board with what it is that you want to do. Okay. The other key thing there is asking questions versus making statements is the number one way anyone can ensure that you're getting collaboration and engagement, as opposed to someone who's defensive or who puts up their guard or just doesn't want to engage. All right. Because there's times where any of us have to make a statement, have to give direction, have to, delegate, have to kind of put a charter in place. Yet at the same time, I have found in my own experience that majority of the effective communications and relationships you're going to be able to form are going to be those that you're looking to have dialogue and conversation and collaboration with every interaction, not just going in, making statements, and then turning around and kind of leaving, whether that's one-on-one or in a group. So the big tip that I give a lot of my clients actually, but I gave BM, was ensure that what you're doing is you're also going in and you're kind of respecting the fact that they might have information and guidance and advice and lessons learned and best practices that you might be able to leverage. So go in and ask a lot of questions for understanding, which is going to bring us to the next point, for really understanding where they're coming from. So when you're dealing with someone difficult and challenging, you really want to kind of get under their skin. You want to wear their shoes. You want to get under the covers, all those different, scenarios. But you really want to understand what is motivating this individual to actually, act out or behave or engage the way that they do. Now, what I mean by that is you're not necessarily going to understand their backstory to where what's provoking them to be this, aggressive, harsh, difficult individual. At the same time, you can ask questions in regards to really understanding what it is that they want from you, what it is that they need from you, and definitely what it is that they don't want in order to have a productive relationship. So you could be, asking, hey, Joe, I just really want to understand kind of what is it that you need from me in order for me to do the best job that I could be doing. How would you want me to communicate with you? How often do you want me to reach out to you? What scenarios are the most important that I definitely engage you before taking actions or making a decision or doing something? What would really kind of irk you or really, get under your skin? Should I go in, should I do it? I mean, really try to even engage that individual to help you understand where they're at. Now, you're not going to ask questions like, why are you in a bad mood? Now, I mean, there's certain situations, and environments where you could do that. But at the same time, that's being stated very generally. You're not going to necessarily have those type of conversations with someone, but unless you're close to them, I should say, unless you're close with them. But if you really want to understand how to best work with someone who's difficult or harsh, really try to understand their motivations, understand the goals that they have, what is driving their behavior. They may admit that there's something personal going on that's causing them to just be, driving and railroading or whatever. But at the same time, it might just be that they have goals and objectives and expectations and perfectionism that you really need to understand in order for you to it to be fair, that how to interact with this individual. And that would be the comment that you would make to them is, what I really want to understand is how best you and I can be working together. So it's a win-win for everybody. And any reasonable and true leader would appreciate that. So understand their style, uncover their goals and motivations, ask questions versus make statements. And then there may be an opportunity forced upon you because you could be deciding, well, this isn't working, whether it's the team that you're on, the company that you're with. And yet it also could be where you really want to be and you see huge opportunities for yourself, but this relationship just isn't working. Well, then you might have to kind of put on the big boy or girl pants and go in and kind of what I'll call confront it. It's not it's not causing conflict. It's just simply saying, hey, look, Joe. Hey, look, Joanne. I just sense that, that there's something off in regards to how we're interacting and communicating with each other, or you need something more from me. Or in this case, BM made a comment about, as I can't do anything right. So therefore, I just want to understand, what is it that you need or are expecting that I'm not following through on? Because I took all the direction that you gave, and I kind of followed that, but it just seems as if I just can't do anything right. There's comes a time that if it is a job, if it is a company, if it is a future that you want, then you just have to go ahead and confront it after you've tried other things. All right. But consider that when it comes to anybody difficult, whether it be at work or at home, because there is a way to, to shift your own, because you remember you can't change or control anybody else, to shift your own approach to how you're engaging with them. And then ultimately, if nothing is working, then you have the ultimate decision to be made. Is it worth? And trust me when I say, not only was I that person and projecting and putting others just like BM in very difficult, very stressful situations, causing great anxiety for others. I have too. I've had my own challenging, difficult bully bosses over the years. And, sometimes you just have to get to a point where you're like, is this worth it to my health, let alone my career and my income and my lifestyle? Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take a glance just in case there's any comments or anything additional. I am getting a comment or two. Okay. All right. So let's see. I think I missed one. Oh, okay. So the next question, I'm no longer excited about my business, even my clients. Is it a funk or is there more to it? So that's Tamara. Tamara, and I did talk to her, by the way. I feel you. I absolutely feel you. I would say over the last 12 years, being on my own after leaving corporate in 2008, I probably went through this same type of uncertainty about 3 times. And so what I shared with Tamara is that first, it could be a signal that something is changing or needs to change. So look at it as an opportunity for discovery and for growth. And the first thing I coached Tamara on is just, as opposed to getting down in the dumps and in the negative and in the pessimistic state of mind, kind of shift out of it and see it as an opportunity for a lot of self-discovery, not only about her, her clients and her business, but more so herself. And then as an opportunity to, pivot, to shift, to adjust, to start over, whatever the case might be. And I would say, to give an example, and this is what I shared with her, was my journey over the 12 years took me from leaving corporate. I absolutely knew that I did not want to go back into corporate. I didn't want to go back into corporate from a job perspective, and I didn't want to go back into corporate from a coaching or consulting perspective. I knew that. I mean, it was, because everything, got ripped apart. My whole identity was lost when I lost my career. So there was no way I was going right back. Fast forward 5 or 6 years, and I have my book out called Shedding the Corporate Bitch. And I have people all over saying to me, you are the exact kind of story that many career professionals in corporate need to hear and learn from. Why are you not, whether it was speaking or coaching or training or consulting, why aren't you in the corporate sphere? And, and I started giving it thought. I still wasn't there yet. And at the same time, my coaching business and consulting at the time was just off the chain. I was booked solid. And that went on from like 2013 to 2016, 17. And then I did feel as some work kind of started changing and the work that I was doing, which was entrepreneurial, started creating its own story, so to speak. I started going through what Tamara was going through. I started looking around going, okay, so I'm not really thrilled about the client work that I'm doing. not the clients themselves in some cases, but just the work. Excuse me. And I am getting, pulled into wanting to help career professional women. Or even what I really was targeting was those highly productive, highly successful contributors, individuals who are struggling to be a really strong leader. And the reason for that was that's exactly who I was. I was highly productive, highly successful, highly contributing, but my style, my leadership style, just wasn't there. And those were the type of individuals I really wanted to help. But I also found them in an entrepreneurial, environment as well. But I did start feeling that pull into going back to corporate. And I have now blended two of them. So I work in both corporate and entrepreneurs over the last couple of years. No, actually several years. So what I've told Tamara was simply, and again, coaching is all about asking you questions and allowing you to come up with the answers or the information that you need to then make the decisions on your next steps. So I had her really thinking about, and if you're kind of doing the same, it could be whether or not it's your own business or you're in a career that you're just starting to question whether or not you like the job, you like the opportunities, you like the company, you like the industry, so forth and so on. So the first thing I would coach anyone is to answer for yourself what triggered the change. Think back. Hi, Andrea. I'm sorry. I just got a notification, came to say hi. Great to see you still doing your thing and hoping women win. Yes. Yes. I'm hoping women win. That's my plan. That's my goal. Thanks. Thanks, Andrea. Where was I? I love that though. I love that. Okay. So what triggered the change? So sit back, grab a journal, grab a, cocktail, sit out in the sun, grab your puppy, as I have 4 of them right now in my office, and just really think about, okay, so what has triggered this? Has it been an event, multiple events? Has it been, a change in your client? At the same time, what I find for majority of the entrepreneurial clients that I work with, and I guess 1 or 2 of my corporate clients, but more so entrepreneurially, is when it starts getting hard for them, if they're not making money, if they're having difficult prospecting, if they're not loving having to sell themselves, then all of a sudden, it's not that they're just getting stuck, but they're all of a sudden questioning and doubting whether or not what they're doing and who they're doing it with and why they're doing it. They all of a sudden start questioning all of it. So my job as a coach is to guide them through answering all of those questions. What's triggering it? Well, I'm not making money. Okay. So what's causing you not to make money? Well, and then they would go on and explain that or excuse that. They might, even go on saying, I don't like the clients that helping women. Yes, helping women win. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Andrea. I got what you meant. I got what you meant. So it's not only the fact that they might not be making money, but they also might not be working with the type of clients that they want to work with. I had in a period of about 9 months, this is going back to like 2010 and 11. And like I said, my roster was booked, but I kept at it and I kept adding. And I was putting more pressure on myself to deliver to all of these clients. And at the same time, I had told myself I wanted to move away from burning myself out, from just constantly working, that I wanted a life. Now that I was out of corporate, working, I wanted a life. So what I found for myself, and I have had Tamara think about, and I would coach anybody on, is what you're doing, when you're doing it, who you're doing it for, why you're doing it, is it going against your wants and desires and needs, your values, your beliefs, the goals that you've set for yourself? Because she could be struggling because it's not what it is that she wants to be doing, not from a business application perspective, not that she doesn't want to be coaching in the healthcare medical arena, but more so it could be, and she has to do work on this, it could be that she's just targeting the wrong type of client. She's targeting the wrong size, the wrong industry of healthcare and medical, the wrong level, the entry point, the wrong type of work that she's doing. I moved away a few years ago, not completely. I moved away a great deal from consulting into the coaching, training, speaking space, because the coaching was fabulous and the money was great, but it wasn't where my heart was. My heart was what Andrea is saying. My heart was in helping people grow, and helping people really become the leader that they are meant to be and the person that they are meant to be. It wasn't for me anymore the mechanics of operating a business or advancing in one's career. It was that individual that I all of a sudden realized I was passionate about. So Tamara, and anybody who is kind of all of a sudden losing steam when it comes to your business, kind of think about what triggered it. To ask yourself, of those triggers, what is it about those triggers? If it's money, what is it about the money? If it's not coming in, if it is coming in, if it's coming from the wrong places, if it's, if it's the type of, if it's not or is the type of people that you want to work with. But what is triggering it? If it could be like I said, the industry, it could be the products and services you have. It could be the fact that you have to be online versus face to face. It could be so many things that it's not that your business is the issue. It's just the components of the business, the elements of the business may not be aligned and congruent with what it is you really truly want to be doing. Does that make sense? So really ask yourself those questions. And the other question on the opposite side of what's triggering it, the other question I would ask is, what excites you about your work? What excites you about your business? What excites you about being on your own? What excites you about working with the people in the industry, that you're in? Find the positives as much as you want to find the negatives. And because we too often just go, ankle deep. No, that's not very deep, is it? Shoulder deep into negatives. But what you also want to think about is, wait a minute, there's a lot of things that I do like about my business. And she was able to rattle off like 5 or 6 things in a very short period of time. And yet, she hung very heavy in the things that aren't working. And so I just gave her kind of a, 5 or 6 questions to walk away with, to kind of contemplate, journal, do whatever she needs to do to really get to the true essence of why it is that, she's feeling like she's in a funk. And I didn't necessarily answer that question. Part of her question is it a funk or something else? I didn't necessarily say yes or no, it wasn't a funk. But I would share with you, and I didn't necessarily share it with her, but 9 out of 10 times working with someone corporately or entrepreneurially, when they're in what Tamara called a funk, it is because it's not the whole thing. It's not that they don't land up walking away. They don't land up turning everything inside out. They just have to make a few changes. And sometimes that's their mindset, not just, the elements or components of what it is that they're doing. So be cautious not to kind of throw your hands up in the air and give up just because things aren't working. Maybe things got hard. Maybe you started going against your values and your beliefs and what it is you want. So answer that question. What's triggering it? So you can get down to that answer. Okay. Thanks, Andrea. She's like, yes, agreed. Okay. I think, all right. I just want to make sure I answered that completely. All right. I'm going to just scroll across here, make sure no one's hanging out waiting for me. Okay. So the next question, Valerie, the next question is, my yearly review was excellent, but my raise doesn't show it. What can I do about it? Now, there is nothing more satisfying for me as a coach when one of my clients, and Valerie's not a client yet. No, Valerie's not a client. But there's nothing more satisfying than hearing that they got an exceptional. And I got that yesterday from one of my clients, is that she had got a corporate client that, she had gotten an exceptional performance review when there was, challenges and whatnot in the past. And I was just beaming, and I was beaming for her, but yet at the same time for both of us. Because she's worked really hard, over the past year and a half that we've been working together. So she's was so well deserving. So Valerie, I felt the same way. Now, Valerie, I spoke to last week, but Valerie, I felt the same way. And I definitely get it when it comes to then, all of a sudden you get this exceptional, you're all excited. You're like, woohoo, I'm going to get a lot of money. And then it doesn't come. So first, what I shared with her and what I would suggest to anyone, it is performance review time. Yes, it is March, but companies take a while to kind of pass down, everyone's performance reviews and their compensation or their bonus or their, raise, whatever the case might be. So she had gotten hers about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And yet she sat on it and stewed on it before she came to me for some suggestions. So what I shared with her is, first off, does she know the guidelines of what the criteria is for the amount of raise that one would get? Many corporate organizations, HR, they know. They have a grid. They have a scale that they use for exceptional and exceptional, maybe exceeds. That could be exceptional though. Satisfactory, not satisfactory, so forth and so on. They have a scale. They know what the incentive can be, what the raise can be, what that percentage is going to be based on that. It often doesn't get communicated out and shared. That's true. But I always would coach someone to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. And they might say, well, I can't share that with you, or that's not, public information. But ask if you can better understand the guidelines. Now that could be to HR, that could be to your boss. To her boss, she should also go back to and discuss the fact that she's unhappy, because first off, you don't want to carry that. If here you worked your tail off, you got this exceptional, you had this expectation, and now you're disappointed. You don't want to carry that, because trust me when I say, it will show, it will project in some way, shape, or form, because you're kind of holding on to it, you're repressing it, or you're very conscious of it. It will project. So why carry that around? Go back and say, hey, can we talk, Sally? Here I get this exceptional, and I was so excited. I'm so grateful because yes, I did some great work this past year. But then I have to say I was disappointed in the raise. I would have certainly have expected blah, 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 blah. Now, that said, anybody, and she did not, but anybody should have, kind of going into their performance reviews, they should have a very clear idea of what it is that they do expect. So if the whole goal setting process went according to plan, and trust me when I say I do a lot around goal setting for companies and, big and small, but if they actually worked on defining someone's goals, someone's performance expectations, roles and responsibilities, things that they need to work on, areas for development, what the measurements are that are needed for them to be exceptional, to be satisfactory. And of course, you're not talking about not wanting to be satisfactory. But if every employee should have a clear understanding of what is expected of them, and yet many aren't. And so what I would suggest to anyone, and I coach my clients certainly on, is have that understood, planned out, and delivered on upfront. You want to be exceptional. This is what it's going to take to be exceptional. All along the 6 months, mid-year, and the year, you're tracking and kind of assessing back to the fact that you are meeting what is needed to be exceptional. Oh, well, you didn't meet something. Okay, I might not be exceptional. I might be satisfactory, or maybe that exceed satisfactory. But you should have a very clear idea of that going in. Again, they may not share with you that exceptional or satisfactory get these type of percentages, but it should at least lend itself to a follow-up discussion, as I suggested to Valerie, that she, goes in, shares that she's disappointed, and ask what should the expectation be that if someone receives exceptional, is whatever she received the norm? And if it's not the norm, they may not share that with you. And you might even say, I know you might not be able to share that with me, but if I'm not at the max, what do I need to do to get to the max? If I didn't receive the max, what is it I need to do to get to the max? If I didn't meet exceptional and I'm only satisfactory, that's what my rating is. What what do I need to do going forward to meet that exceptional? Okay. If you're coming in at not satisfactory, and many people do, all of a sudden they're not satisfactory, the first question that should be asked is, all right, what contributed to that not being satisfactory? And what do I need to do to move it up and be satisfactory? So at any point, in your performance, you should have a very clear idea of what it is that you need to do to meet certain criteria, to meet certain levels, to meet certain scales, to meet certain deliverables, to meet certain expectations. And I will tell you, it is not HR's responsibility or anyone else's responsibility for you to have that understanding, because I get that a lot. Well, no one told me that. Well, they don't need to tell you that. You need to make sure you have that information as you go into the year, as you go into the month, or whatever. But it's not anyone else's responsibility to make sure that information is given to you. You need to make sure that you get it. Okay. So that's what I shared with her in regards to what she could still do. Well, this was a couple weeks ago, in regards to kind of following through on being disappointed, especially to let that kind of, to let that go and not hold it within herself. And again, it's your role and responsibility to understand where you're at and where you're going. Okay. Exactly. Andrea says, exactly. Thank you, Thank you, Andrea. I'm so happy that you're out there engaging. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Last one, and this one's so easy. But if anybody has a question, let me just take a look across Facebook, Twitter. If you do have a question or a challenge that you're dealing with and you want some firsthand coaching, then feel free to go ahead and put it in the comment section across any one of those platforms. You might be watching it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I don't even know where. Andrea's on LinkedIn. Feel free to put it out there and it should come right to me. Even if you didn't give them approval, I just wouldn't see your name and profile picture. But get the help. Get the help. Don't, sit there going, oh, no. I don't need any help. I can do it on my own. You know what? Why? Just why? Why would you do it on your own? Okay. This one's a fun one. And I had gotten it as I was 10 minutes before I was coming online. What is the Biz Snap Show all about? Yeah, that was the question. What is the Biz Snap Show all about? So the Biz Snap Show is a 15-minute interview of a small business owner to give them the opportunity to share and answer just 5 questions. That's why it's called Snap. And the 5 questions are, who are you? Personally, not professionally. Who are you? So we get to know, and trust. My philosophy is if you have someone know, and trust you, they will do with you. So know, trust, and do. That's the objective of the Biz Snap Show. So answer 5 questions. Who are you? Personally. What do you do? Who do you do it for? What products and services, do you offer? And what is the impact that you have on your clients? Now, the impact is not about, well, they get a lot of great advice and tips and strategies. It's how is it that their lives are changed or their business is changed as a result of what it is that you offer them. But it's a great marketing branding tool that should, take part in the interview. Then you have an opportunity to post that on LinkedIn, post it on Facebook, post it on your website. And so people can kind of get to know, trust, and do with you. So that's the Biz Snap Show. That's what it's all about. And I don't have it in front of me. You would think I would, but like I said, it came in the last moment. I'll tell you what, should you have a small business and you want to be profiled on the Biz Snap Show, then all you need to do is wherever you might be, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, just leave a comment saying the Biz Snap Show. And I will send you a link where you can just go ahead and schedule your 15-minute interview. And it's on camera right here on StreamYard. And again, it's just a great marketing vehicle. Why do I do it? Was the other question. Why do I do it? I started doing it last year when I recognized that, especially small businesses, the small business owners were still struggling. They were still in their head, not really seeing all the great opportunities that were actually presenting themselves in any difficult time. So, 2020, 2021 was a very challenging time for the world. And yet it presented itself with so many business and life opportunities that many people took advantage of, but many people did not. And so I just felt that I wanted to provide a vehicle to get people, get small business owners' names and their businesses and the impact that they're having in the world out as much as possible. So I would love for everyone to have their own Biz Snap Show so they too can showcase the business owners that are really killing it out there and doing great work. But until that happens, the Biz Snap Show provides that. So again, if you want, let me see if I have something I can put up here. If you want to just simply send me, write a comment, send me a DM in LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Twitter, and just simply say, I would love the Biz Snap Show. And I will get Deborah, Alex, or I will send you a link to my schedule to where we can get that done. But that's what the BizNap show is all about. It's fun. I love it. And it's fun to get to know all these business owners and what it is that they do and who they do it for and the impact that they're having. So that's the BizNap show. All right. Let's see. I definitely got to check it out. Yes, Andrea. Yay. Definitely check it out. Oh, I should mention, that you can also check out all of the BizNap show interviews. They're on YouTube. They're in our Powerhouse Mavericks group on Facebook, which is a private group on Facebook. And we have all the BizNap interviews there because that's where, actually, I should mention, that's where it first broadcasts. It first broadcasts within our Powerhouse Maverick groups on Wednesdays at noon. And then after that, it then broadcasts on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So, and on Facebook, it's our other pages on Facebook. So there's a great deal of exposure provided as a result of the BizNap show. So yes, Andrea, check it out or just shoot me a note and I can send you a link or two to check out the various interviews that we've done. But I would love to get an opportunity to share you with the world. And my sub theme is, so small businesses thrive today, tomorrow, and in the future. But that's the BizNap show. All right. I think I answered everyone's questions that I had with me. And again, you can come on at any point in time and let me know. We do this every Thursday at noon Eastern, and it's live coaching, which also means that very much like, Andrea hanging out with me, she could even sending now. Awesome. She can even shoot me a note saying, hey, Bernadette, I'd love to come online with you because I have a question or a challenge. And I would send you the link to this studio where I am right now on StreamYard. And you could actually come online and get coaching one-on-one. So that's really what my goal and objective is to get you coaching so you have the tips, the advice, sometimes tough love that you need to keep moving forward. So all of the different programs and outlets that we have is all about giving you the tools that you need to create riches in your work and life. Oh, Andrea, I see your note. Yes, I will send you the link to the BizNap show for sure. I'll do it as soon as we're done here. All right, everybody. Until next Thursday at 1 o'clock, I will hope to see you on Shedding the Bitch Radio and TV, which is at noon on Tuesdays. And I hope to see, like Andrea, a note from you in regards to taking part in the BizNap show. So until then, I will see you. Have a fabulous, rich week and just create riches out there. All right. Talk to you all soon. Bye. Thanks, Andrea. I'll reach out in 2 seconds.